Welcome to this second part of Kadambari lecture series. In the earlier part, we got introduced to poet Banavatta, who is the author of this beautiful story of Kadambari. In today's part, we will actually commence with the story of Kadambari. First of all, we must know that Kadambari is not divided into any chapters or subchapters. If you see any edition of Kadambari, you will see different parts such as Javali Varnanam, Vindhyatavi Varnanam, Shudraka Varnanam, etc. But these parts are made only for our benefit so that we can understand the story part by part. But originally, Kadambari has no parts. It is like a single flow of river. So now we will start with the story of Kadambari. The story starts with the description of King Shudraka. The first sentence of Kadambari itself is very long and it describes the qualities of the king in detail. I will narrate the first sentence in short to you. आसीद शेष नरपति शिरः समभ्यर्चित शासनः पाकशासन इवापरः चतुरुदधि मेखलाया भुवो भर्ता प्रतापानुरागावनत समस्त सामंत चक्रः चक्रवर्ती लक्षणोपेतः वैनतेय इव विनतानन्दजननः वैन्य इव चापकोटि समुत्सारित सकलारातिकुलाचलो Raja Shudrako Nama. In this single sentence, different aspects of Shudraka's personalities have been beautifully brought out by the use of various metaphors. To tell in short, King Shudraka was a young, able king. He spent most of his time in different arts, discussions on sciences and poetries, because there was not much for him to do in the kingdom, because his kingdom was self-sufficient. All his subjects were so good that there were no crimes happening. No one was poor, no one was unhappy. Everyone was very, very happy and contented. So this is the description of an ideal kingdom. Now one day, when our King Shudraka was sitting in his court in Vidisha city, the doorkeeper came in and she said that a Chandala girl is waiting to meet you at the door. Now, Chandalas are outcasts. In the caste system, they are considered to be the lowest of all, and people mostly do not want to meet Chandalas. This was the social system prevalent at that time. But our king Shudraka is very, very liberal. When he heard this, he said that there is no problem in the Chandala girl coming here, so please send her in. The doorkeeper ushered the Chandala girl inside. The Chandala girl was dark skinned, but she was very, very beautiful. When King Shudraka saw her, he could not take his eyes off her. She was so very beautiful and mesmerizing. Behind the Chandala girl came an old Chandala man. He had a cage in his hand and there was a parrot in the cage. The Chandala girl bowed down to the king, and then the Chandala man came forward and spoke, "O king, this parrot is not an ordinary parrot. His name is Vaishampayana and he can speak in human language. He is a knower of all scriptures and sciences, Vedas and Puranas. Not only that, he can compose verses in chaste Sanskrit. He is a marvel in the world, and therefore our mistress thought that such a marvel should be there in the feet of the king, and therefore we have brought this parrot to you." As soon as the man said that, the parrot in the cage elegantly held up his right foot and chanted a beautiful verse in the description of King's valor. King Shudraka was completely amused on seeing the extraordinary capacity of Vaishampayana parrot. He asked his attendants to take the Chandala girl and the parrot inside and gave them food and all other luxuries. After the royal lunch, the king again asked for the parrot to be brought before him. And then he asked the parrot, "O Vaishampayana, I am mesmerized on seeing these extraordinary capacities in you. Please tell me, who are you and how is it that you know all these things, all this knowledge? How did you get that? Please tell me your story in detail." After that, Vaishampayana started his story. He said, "O king, listen to my story. In the middle part of the Bharatavarsha, there is a very dark and dense forest known as Vindhyatali. There are dense and thick trees in that forest, and in the middle of that forest, there was a Shalmali tree. On that Shalmali tree, there lived many birds and many parrots as well. My parents lived on that tree. For many years, my parents had no offsprings, and in old age, I was born to them. Unfortunately, my mother passed away just after I was born. I was raised by my father, who was very feeble, very old, and therefore he could not go far away to bring food for me. He just picked up the grains thrown away by other birds, and he raised me with great love and compassion. But one day, when I was still a young child, I had not even grown wings. At that time, a tribal community came near our Shalmali tree. The community sat there for some time and then they went away. But one cruel tribal man stayed back, and after the rest of them were gone, he began to climb on our tree. His eyes were red and he had the cruelest expressions like that of the god of death on his face. He climbed, and as he saw the different birds in their nests, he took them, he just killed them and threw them down. Very soon, he came to our nest. I was huddled under the wing of my father. When he saw us, he took my father into his hand and threw him down and we fell on a heap of hay. My father died in that attack, but I was still alive. Leaving my dead father, I started walking some steps. I wanted to live. The desire for living makes everyone ruthless. I also became ruthless and left my father and just began to search for water because I was so thirsty and I longed to live. But I had no energy in my body. I felt that now I am surely going to die in this heat. But at that moment, I saw a young ascetic coming in front of me. His splendor was like that of a sun. He had the radiance of penance on his face, and he was followed by many young ascetic boys. He was Haritha, the son of sage Jabali. As soon as he saw me, his heart became full of compassion. He carried me towards a lake nearby and fed me some drops of water. Then he took me to the hermitage of sage Jabali. I saw sage Jabali sitting under the great Ashoka tree. He was very calm and peaceful. He had long white beard and his body was smeared with ashes. As soon as the sage saw me, he smiled and said, "Oh, this parrot is experiencing the fruits of his misdeeds from his last life." The sage was omniscient and he could see past, present as well as future. All the other ascetics became very curious and they began to ask him, "Who is this parrot? And how did he come to this birth? Please tell us the story of this parrot." Then sage Jabali began to tell the story of my past life. He began, "Long ago, there was a beautiful kingdom of Ujjayini. King Tarapeda ruled in Ujjayini. His wife was Vilasavati. Both of them were good rulers and there was no misery in their kingdom. Their kingdom was managed by able ministers like Shukanasa. Therefore, the king and the queen most of the time spent their time in the harem in each other's company. They had all the riches of the world, but only one thing they did not have, and that was an offspring. They had no child, and that made them very, very unhappy. They had tried a lot. They had done vratas. They worshipped gods, but to no avail. They did not get any child. Vilasavati used to cry. She was very, very unhappy because of this. Then she began the worship of Lord Shankara. And miraculously, one day, at the time of dawn, the King Tarapida, had a very peculiar dream. He saw that the moon was entering the mouth of Vilasavati. He was mesmerized. He did not know the meaning of this dream. He told this dream to his minister Shukanasa. And Shukanasa said that he also got a similar dream, only that he saw a fully blown lotus, a pundarika, being kept by a great sage in the lap of his wife Manorama. Both the king and the minister both were very, very amused by this, and they considered this as a good omen. And sure enough, in a few days, Vilasavati conceived and she became pregnant. At the same time, Shukanasa's wife Manorama also got pregnant, and they both delivered on the same day. Both got a son. Tarapida was very, very happy at the birth of his son. He named his son as Chandrapida. Shukanasa named his son Vaishampayana. Now, this Chandrapida and Vaishampayana became close friends of each other because they were of the same age. They played together, they learned together, they were always together, they were like the life of each other. Such was their friendship. Soon, Chandrapida came of the age for schooling. But the king was not very happy to send his only son far away to the Gurukula, and therefore he had a Gurukula built in the premises of his palace itself, and he sent Chandrapida, Vaishampayana and other princes there only for study. Tarapida used to go there and secretly watch his dear son grow along with the other boys. Chandrapida learned many things in Gurukula. A list of Shastras is given which he learned there. Music, drama, Ayurveda, weaponry, swords, Gada, that is mace, and many more such sciences were taught to him in the Gurukula. When Chandrapida became 16 years of age, it was his time to return back to his home. Tarapida was most excited to have his son back in the palace. So, as a gift, Tarapida sent a horse to him. The name of the horse was Indrayudha, and he was a very magnanimous horse. When Chandrapida saw this horse, he felt as though he is a very divine creature. Chandrapida sat on the horse and came to the palace along with all the other princes. He was welcomed happily by the king. Vilasavati also was very happy to get him back. As a gift from her side, she sent a maid servant. No, her name was Patralekha. She sent Patralekha to Chandrapida with a message that she considered Patralekha as her own daughter, like her own daughter. Patralekha was only 12 or 13 years of age, and therefore Vilasavati expected that Chandrapida should treat her like a friend and not like a servant. Chandrapida was very happy to get a friend like Patralekha, and he always kept Petralekha along with him. So wherever Chandrapida went, he went with Vaishampayana and Patralekha. So now the time had come that Chandrapida should be crowned as the king of Ujjayini. But because of all these prosperities, the prince should not become arrogant. With this view in mind, Minister Shukanasa gave a very valuable advice to Chandrapida about how to behave with all the people when you have prosperity in your hand. This advice is known as Shukanasopadesha, and it is relevant even in today's time. The gist of this advice is that this prosperity, this Lakshmi is very, very fickle, and therefore one should not go behind her. One should be humble and give due respect to our elderly people. With this advice in mind, Chandrapida began his activities as a prince. He used to go for hunting expeditions, and now, as he was going to be crowned a king, he set out for a Digvijaya, that is the conquering of all the directions. This is done by the prince with a view that the prince should get acquainted with all the kingdoms that are there around the Rajdhani, the capital city. So Chandrapida set out along with Vaishampayana, Patralekha and all his armies for his Digvijaya. He went to different parts of Bharatavarsha, he conquered different regions, he got to know about the people there. So it was a long journey and came to the great Himalaya mountains. All of them were tired with this journey and therefore they stayed for some time in the Himalaya region, in the foothills of Himalaya. At that time, Chandrapida one day went out for an expedition on his own. He was roaming about sitting on his horse Indrayudha. He was watching the beauty of nature, and at that time, suddenly he saw a Kinnara couple. Now Kinnaras are demigods. Just like Yaksha, Gandharva, Apsara, they are also a class of demigods, and it is said that they have the body of humans and the face of a horse. So seeing one male and one female Kinnara going in front of him, he was completely mesmerized. He was so amused that such a demigod, such a divine creature is there in front of me. And he, being a prince, being in his prime youth, he desired to have that Kinnara couple. And therefore, he nudged Indrayudha and set off behind that Kinnara couple in order to catch him. But the Kinnara couple was a divine couple. How will it come into the hands of a human? The Kinnara couple went on and on, appearing and disappearing between the trees. And Chandrapida had lost all his consciousness. He was just running after the Kinnara couple. Indrayudha went at the pace of the wind, and therefore Chandrapida did not know where he was going. His eyes were fixed on the Kinnara couple. And after some time, the Kinnara couple just disappeared, and Chandrapida looked around and found himself in the midst of a dense forest with no one about. Now, he did not know what to do. Where was he? And now what should he do next? There were no humans. Leave the humans, there was no one about. So was the dense forest. Now what could happen? Will he get back to his army? Where should he go now? He was not afraid, but he was worried that now how could he go back? He got down from Indrayudha and he began to think that how silly was I to follow that Kinnara couple. I should have known that I will never get hold of them. But I just followed my desire and now I have ended up here. Now what should I do? He held Indrayudha and he started walking. And after walking some steps, he came to a vast lake, a very beautiful lake. It was the Achodha Sarovar. It was so crystal clear that the bottom of the lake could be seen from there. The view was so beautiful. Everywhere there was lush greenery, and in the middle was the calm and peaceful lake. Chandrapida went there. He drank some water from it, gave Indrayudha some water because both of them were thirsty. After that, he sat down under a tree to rest. Just as he was resting, he heard the divine music of a veena being played somewhere nearby. Now, again, in this place where there are no humans about, who could possibly be there playing such a melodious veena? Who could be it? Chandrapida decided that he will follow the music and get to know who is playing that. Who could it be? Let us wait for the next session to get an answer to our question. I request you all, those who are following my Kadambari series, please do not Google or do not try to read anywhere about the story of Kadambari now, because if you read what is going to happen next, you will lose all the fun and the mystery of this part. So if you are following this series of Kadambari, please wait for the next episode, which is coming very soon. Till then, keep guessing, and for now, I take your leave. Thank you. Namo Namaha.